Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Deep Culture. This is our third episode now. And firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you guys who have supported us in the first two episodes. It's been wonderful and I'm thoroughly enjoying this journey. We've had a talk with the Nomad writer Manisha Delani, and in last week's episode, we've had a deep conversation with Esther Liao talking about what it's like to do solo traveling as well as also being a special education teacher. Today, I have a special guest with me who is also a dear friend of mine by the name of Ruban. Right? So Ruban is a financial advisor and he's gone through a range of different experiences in his life. On top of that, he is also not just a financial advisor, but he's also into spiritual things like reading of tarot cards. And I thought it'd be interesting to have his perception of how these two very different things can come together and be part of your whole lifestyle, right? So a lot of us don't see financial advisory to do a lot with tarot card readings. So I want to find out more about it from him. So without further ado, Ruban, welcome to Deep Culture.
Hello, thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, no problem, bro. Welcome to Deep Culture. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks. How about you?
Good. You look well rested. You look fresh. I like the lighting.
Yeah.
Bro.
Maybe it's at 2:30 in the morning. It feels pretty good.
It feels good, right? Yeah, I had to, we had to take a bit of a rest earlier before we actually did this recording. But I'm glad that we're both fresh and ready to go right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So how's this circuit breaker treating you so far?
Oh, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. To be honest, I've been busier than ever. And of course, that can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
But I guess more work is better than less work, lah. In at least in terms of my career.
Definitely. And how's that been? I mean, I understand now that you're doing something different from what you were doing about a couple of months ago. You want to share a bit more about that?
So I've sort of transited into a different company where we're doing a more holistic method of planning.
Mm-hmm.
So we offer different things, sort of like you can invest directly into the market with us. We have trader accounts for that. Still doing the same standard financial planning as well, insurance, investments.
Okay.
But just we're covering certain things deeper than we used to before, especially in the investment aspect.
Okay. Are you enjoying the process?
Yep, very much so.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. That's good to hear, bro. I think that's the most important thing. As long as you're enjoying the process, no matter how hard the work gets, then it's always fulfilling.
Yep, definitely. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you want to share a bit more about yourself, Ruben, aside from being a financial advisor, like how I introduced you, along with the tarot card readings. What else is there to know about you? How did we first meet? I think for us, we were secondary school friends as well.
Correct. We met in secondary school. Not 20. It's 2005. I think that was when we first met.
Wow. Oh, that's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, so it's 15 years now.
15 years. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And we weren't really close as well. Just like Esther, you and I weren't really close back then, right?
Correct. Like we knew of each other. We used to maybe play soccer together. We had the same interests. We were both in prefectorial board. But I think we only got closer after a while. After I went to Australia and came back, in fact. So that was only about 2 years ago, I think. So see, it's funny how life can take you. Like 13 years after you get to know each other, then you get closer eventually.
Right.
Nobody can tell what's going to happen. Yeah.
It's so unique, right? It's so unique. And I have to also share this, speaking of unique, a very unique story about one of the experiences I remember of Ruben back in secondary school. You don't mind me sharing, right, Ruben? I think you know which story I'm referring to.
Okay, I can't remember, but go ahead.
It was about something... Okay. So, in Singapore schools, we all have this assembly time, right? Early in the morning. And back then, there was one of these instances where there was going to be back checks going on. So I don't know for whatever reason that there was an impromptu back check going on. So the teachers came down the line of our classes and then after started asking us to take out stuff in our bags. And Ruben and I were in different classes, but he was in the class beside me. And he was sitting pretty nearby, so we all could see what was going on. So when it finally came to Ruben's turn, right? The teacher opened his bag, and then she reached down, and I don't know why, but it's like all of us knew that something was something was different, something was off. So we all started looking towards that direction. And when the teacher pulled out her hand from the bag, out came a spanner from the bag. And we
it
were
wasn't
like
like a
wondering,
normal size spanner. It was like an industrial grade huge ass spanner.
exactly, it was a huge ass spanner, and we were like, what the hell, Ruben? Why are you bringing a spanner to school, man? So maybe you want to enlighten us in case we have other schoolmates listening on as well. Like schoolmates.
Yeah.
What was the spanner for, bro?
Okay, so the thing is, like I've explained to many people before, I used to ride the bicycle to school.
Okay.
And it just so happened that this bicycle that I rode, right, had a faulty back axle. So I would constantly need to get off and tighten it once in a while, even while riding, because it would loosen up and the back wheel would start to shake.
Okay.
So I needed to bring that size of a spanner to make it easier for me to do the work to get the wheel back on. So these fellas who were looking at me and looking at the teacher taking out the spanner, they thought like I was in some kind of gang or something, you know. It was crazy. And I was like the most normal, well-behaved kid in school. I was like in the prefectorial board, student leader, all this kind of the standard nerd stuff. So I have no idea why they were thinking anything else.
Bro, we were perplexed, bro. We were like wondering, why the hell is there a spanner in someone's bag? Was it like every day you were bringing it or what?
Yes, every day. It was always in my bag. And you know what's the best part? The spanner wasn't even mine. It was my neighbor's. I didn't even know how to explain to him that I had lost it.
So you got confiscated after that.
Yeah, it was confiscated and I never got it back. Let me tell you, I never got it back. I went to the office so many times to try to explain. I never got the spanner back.
Wow.
They just couldn't believe the story, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's not every day you come across somebody with a spanner in a bag. Let's put it that way. What an icebreaker for a story, yeah?
And I think my neighbor still is unhappy with me until today.
I think it's about time you get him one, bro.
I think so.
So yeah, that's one of the earliest memories I had with Ruben. One of the funniest, best experiences I had also. Like that, I remember everybody laughing, wondering like, why is there a spanner?
It was like a mix of shock, fear, happiness, and laughter, all at one time.
And confusion, bro. And confusion. It was like, huh?
Confusion.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a question for you, Ruben. Tell me, how does a political science student get into financial advisory? Like, I know you already kind of worked in the financial industry a bit, but those are, to me, quite different in terms of their field, right? So,
yes.
Are they both your passion, or is one more the passion and the other one is more like, I need to do this to get money?
Okay, so financial planning was something I fell into by necessity. I needed to do it at the time.
Right.
But over time, I came to realize that I find business more exciting than government and political work.
Okay.
So running my own little team, my own business, the way I handle the different problems that arise day to day, it makes it feel a lot more exciting than public service. So don't get me wrong, I think public service is great and I still think it's very important. But from what I hear from my friends in public service and what they're doing right now, I don't think I would have enjoyed that life very much.
Right.
So it might have been a happy coincidence that I fell into financial planning.
So instead of so I think basically what you did was that you found something that is most suitable towards your personality. Is that what it is?
Yeah, something more in line with my character and at the same time also something that I want to achieve in my career. The goals that I want to achieve in my career, financial planning would definitely be able to help me do that.
So what are your goals for financial advisory, bro? And why financial advisory? Like, I understand the interpersonal relationship part, but there's a lot of other industries and fields out there. Why financial advisory?
Okay, because I feel financial advisory makes a long-lasting impact on the person that I'm financially planning for. So someone's finances, most people will be working for about 30 to 40 years of their life. And that means 30 to 40 years of income earned. Now, what people do with this money is very important because this can basically shape, make or break your entire financial future. Whatever goals you want to have, whatever car you want to buy, house you want to live in, what sort of retirement you wish to have, all of this plays a part into how you manage your finances during the time that you are working. So I feel the impact that you would make is it's very substantial, and by doing so, by helping someone take good control of their finances and helping them achieve their goals, it's making a big difference in their lives, and that's something that's important to me.
Right. Yeah. And do you think
Mm.
that's especially so here in Singapore, bro?
Yes, I think so. Especially in a country like Singapore, there's not really a place where you can go and open up a farm and then live off the land, anything of
Yeah.
that sort. You do need to have a good control of your money if you really want to be able to not just thrive in Singapore, but I would say even to just survive in Singapore. It's important that you have a good control of your money.
Mm.
Hmm.
And what are the ways that you're helping people do that?
So there are many ways to help people take control of their finances, but the first thing would definitely be educating them about how to do it, because most people are at a loss of how to do it. We are taught many things in school, but managing finances, paying your taxes, learning how to make more money isn't one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
Do
I
you,
think education on sorry, could you say again?
do you think it should be included in schools?
I think it should. I think some basic cursory knowledge of how to do basic financial planning should be included in schools. It's a basic life skill. Like if
Yeah,
they can teach you home economics and they can teach you PE, how to stay in shape and how to take care of the nutrition, I think this is just as important.
I agree totally, man. So, what's your take on this current situation with this COVID-19? Like, how is that impacting financial advisory?
Okay, so it's creating a whole new paradigm when it comes to financial advisory.
Uh-huh.
Like a lot of people, when they think financial advisory, they always think I have to either go to a bank or I have to meet my financial planner in a Starbucks.
That's true,
it's,
though. That's
either,
true.
it's usually either of these two things. So right now, it's creating a third option now. Now I can sit in the comfort of my home or
Mhm.
wherever I so please that has a Wi-Fi connection, and I can simply converse with someone I know and get my finances planned out that way. So it's totally transforming the way business is done. And I think it's very beneficial for millennials as well, who just want to have a lot of time to themselves. They don't really want to socialize much these days.
Yeah.
So it gives a good alternative to people who don't really want to come out and meet you.
Hmm.
Can do it right in the comfort of your home.
Is that through Zoom?
It can be through any video networking software. So there's like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Skype, anything that they feel comfortable with.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm.
So tell me, bro, I've always been curious about what's the process of you actually helping someone financially through your financial advisor occupation, right? Profession. What's the
Mm.
next steps that it goes through? Is there like a basic 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it like it can take all kinds of directions?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because I was going to mention also because everybody has their own spin on financial planning.
Yeah.
It's such a fluid concept, financial planning, because finances are really, really big. Think of finances like a huge ocean. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to cup the ocean with your hands and create some semblance of form to it,
Okay.
right? That's how a person would financially plan. They will just do whatever they can with their own two hands. But when you talk about financial planning, it's essentially creating a sort of like an instrument for you to store water in it in a logical way that will help this water grow and at the same time give you more water in the future. And if anything happens, you have water as a something to fall back on. You will always have that emergency amount. So that being said, trying to contain the ocean is a near impossible task, but we do what we can with what we have. So for me personally, I don't like to start off talking about somebody's finances first because that doesn't mean as much as getting to know someone first.
Right. Okay.
Who they are, how they think, their personal goals, their desires. This will really shape the way I financially plan for them. So I don't like to have a set method because everybody in the world is different. Everybody has different dreams
Yeah.
and goals. So if I tell you, oh, you need to do this because you have to buy a car, you have to upgrade your house, your children have to go to university, it doesn't make sense because some people don't want a car, some people prefer staying at home with their parents, some people don't even want to have kids.
Mm.
So the first process I always start with is talking to a person and finding out more about them. What do you want to do? What do you expect out of life? Let me see how I can help you get what you want.
It's interesting you brought that up. So, how do you get that breakthrough with your clients from that
Okay.
education? Like, what kind of skills do you think is needed for this financial advisory role?
Okay, so I think the first thing that you really need is an open mind. because you will come across all sorts of people with all different sorts of views, and you need to be able to understand them. So the key is always to understand the person who's sitting right in front of you. So if you're unable to empathize and feel and understand why they are doing such things, it's difficult for you to truly determine what is being said, the read between the lines, Some people might say certain things, but you have to imply and catch the exact thing that you're worried about.
Right.
So for example, someone who's worried about having kids, or maybe is unsure whether they want to have kids or not. If they tell you this, then you have to ask deeper. Why is it you're unsure of having kids? Is it because of the financial aspect? Or is it because you're unsure if you're ready to become a father? So I'm talking from a male perspective.
Right.
If you're let's go neutral. If you're unable, if you're unready to become a parent, do you think you won't be able to provide for them fully as a parent should? Then if it falls into a financial domain, that's why I come in to help you fill the gap and ensure that you'll be able to fulfill your financial duties.
Okay.
So it's more about reading between the lines. People are usually they don't know exactly what is bothering them, but they know how it makes them feel. So it's very important to be able to understand why is it they feel this way.
So it sounds to me like then financial advisory, it's not so much the perception or the stereotype that we have of them like being very numerical or very factual, but they also have to understand people's emotions. They have to understand people's situations and empathize with them, right? So it's also almost like it's like a coaching job, mentoring, coaching. Would you say is?
I would say a little bit of counseling comes into play.
Right, counseling, yeah.
So after all, we are financial advisors, so we advise. And part of advising has a lot to do with listening and understanding as well. Because you can't give good advice if you're unable to listen. But you're correct. There is a whole other element to financial planning other than just the number side.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The number side is important because finances is 1 + 1 = 2. This is just logic. It's straight up. There's a few things you can't really bend and play with.
Yeah.
Before that all begins, having a little bit of fluidity to understand the person is very important.
And what have you done to help yourself improve? Because I think that's the most crucial part for the most crucial stage for this whole journey, right? Is first to build a connection with your clients. So what have you done to help yourself develop in that area? Have you read certain books? Or...
To be honest, I haven't really read any books on interpersonal skills, but I would say it's a lot of practice.
Okay.
And it also stems from a strong desire to understand others. So you cannot really be good at understanding others if you don't want to understand others. So I think that's the key. You must really feel like you want to know this person. Then only you're able to connect with them. After that, everything usually through trial and error will fall into place. Right. I'm sure there are certain books that will help you speed up the process. But ultimately, it still boils down to whether you want to listen or not. Because there are just sometimes where if you don't want to even put in the time and effort to listen to the person, you're not going to understand them no matter what.
Right. I see. That's interesting. That's a new... For me, this is all... I have that stereotype of financial advisory. It's about the
right.
It's about getting the sales, and I don't know how long they're going to last in the field. Right? And this podcast is in no way like a promotion that I'm trying to promote kind of thing, but I'm trying to understand basically what exactly a financial advisory person does, right? And you're happy to see the stages that he goes through and what it takes to actually build that relationship with a client. Am I right?
Correct. So generally what I'm saying is how I do it, but I also understand the stereotypes about the industry. I have seen other planners who are not so thorough with their process, more interested in just making the sale. It's unfortunate, but at the same time also I feel like it's a necessary evil because getting you covered with some level of insurance or some level of financial products that will increase your net worth is still better than not having it done. But then again, like I said, it takes a lot of understanding to craft out a financial plan that is actually perfect for someone. It takes a lot of experience and knowledge as well. And most people just don't do it. I'm sad to say that. I'm hoping to change the outlook of the industry though. I'm hoping through my skills and hopefully with my team in the future, I'll be able to change people's perceptions on this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure, like in any industry, black sheep will always exist.
Yeah. So my question to you now is, what exactly are you doing to break, and what exactly are the stereotypes that you have that you're hoping to break out of?
Okay. So I would say there's like a lot of stereotypes out there that are negative about financial planners.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would like to go through a knowledge-based approach. I want people to understand that if you don't take control of your finances, or if you're unable to, sometimes outsourcing it to someone who knows how to do it is a better option. And so being said, then choosing the correct person for the job becomes even more important.
Yeah.
Well, to truth be told, I have thought about many ways of how to do it, but I haven't implemented anything yet.
Okay.
But as of now, I believe that the best way to make a change is to do it yourself. So when I do planning for my clients, I want to be the change that that I see out there. So I choose to behave in a proper way. I choose to behave in how I would want planning to be done for me.
And how is that, bro?
That will be diligently, thoroughly, making sure that I'm understood, all my goals are understood, and what is being recommended is perfect for what goals I want to achieve out of life. And I also want to be honest about I want people to be honest with me if I'm being planned for. If this is not suitable, I want to be told that it's not suitable as well.
Yeah.
So someone who can at the same time help me achieve my goals, but also discipline me as well.
And I totally agree with you on that. Like, I think it's important to have somebody. I feel like, for me, if it's about insurance or whatever, sales processes that I have to go through, right? I always wonder, like, is this really, when somebody approaches me and asks me, like, hey, sign up for this investment or sign up for this insurance, right? The question that always begs in my head is this really the best for me, or is this person only saying it's the best because it's his job? And that's, for me, that builds the question of whether should I trust this person or not. And it takes a lot for me to understand where that person is coming from, whether I can trust him, whether what he's saying is really the truth or not. So for you, how would you approach that kind of situation from a financial advisory to a client? When somebody, are you really offering them the best, or are you like actually selling something that you're only capable of?
Right. Okay. So generally speaking, when you talk about the world of finance, like I told you, it's as vast as the ocean. So for me personally, I don't like to product recommend someone the moment I see them. I don't believe in that process. So that means, like, for example, if I see you, hey bro, you should invest in this right now. No, I don't believe in that. Still, the process of finding out more about you must be done.
Right.
So I'm quite familiar with social media marketing these days. So right now I'm pushing the concept of investment a lot, but I never ever push a product across.
Okay.
Because the product may or may not be suitable for that person. Take for instance, let's say client A. Client A doesn't like to take risk, doesn't like to lose money, and therefore is not suitable for investment. Should I still recommend him or her an investment? Obviously not.
Right.
But I recommend him or her something else that is safer and will give him or her the guaranteed returns that they want? Yes, I should. So it's all relative there. And also, I need to come back to what you were mentioning. Like, are they truly recommending me the best product? So ultimately, we live in a capitalist society where they also need to, where financial advisors, we also need to earn to make a living.
Yeah.
But it's just about how ethical you want that earning to be. There are some financial advisors that have literally no ethics, and there are some who are overburdened by their ethics.
Okay.
So it's important to strike a balance between these two.
How did you? I mean, I'm sure that everybody has that. It's a gray line, this ethics thing, right?
Huge gray line.
Yeah. So is it through experience that you managed to draw this gray line for yourself?
Yes. So at the start, I struggled tremendously with it.
Share with us a bit more about it.
Okay. So when I first entered the financial planning industry, like everybody else on the street, I had the same misconceptions. I had the same stereotypes held about the industry, even though I was going to be in the industry. It took some time for me to overcome these problems. So at the start, I will only be selling insurance policies. I will only be selling risk policies because I knew that is something is a necessity. You need to buy insurance. If anything happens to you, your dependents need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
you can't just leave them in poverty. It doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Especially when you have something so cheap to give you such high returns if something does happen to you.
Yeah.
So insurance was something that I was sold on from the start because I knew the benefit. Even my family has seen the benefits of it many times over.
Right.
So that wasn't something I had a problem convincing myself about. But when it came to the investments, I was already a little bit savvy with how the financial markets work because I was already reading up a lot about finances even back when I was in army. So I was surrounded by a group of guys in army who were already doing their own investment. So I also, because I was part of that social circle, I wanted to be relevant, and have something to talk about. I also started reading up lah. So since then, So it's the peer pressure aspect lah. Positive peer pressure. So as I got into reading of it, then I understood there are some things that are high risk, high reward. Then there are some things that are low risk, also low reward lah. And it took me because I'm someone who is a high risk, high reward kind of guy. So I don't mind investing heavily into the market, and even if my investment tanks a bit, I'm still okay with that. So I was projecting my own personal views onto my clients, which is a negative thing to do.
Right.
You should never ever push your beliefs onto your clients. So even if I believe that high risk, high reward is the best way, not all clients believe this, and their views must be respected.
Yeah, agree. I think that's paramount in the service industry, right? It's always paramount to not impose your own expectations and your own beliefs onto your customers or the people you're serving.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So that took me, so like you said, the service side of the industry took me some time to understand and master. So there's this great saying in the service industry, the customer is always right.
Yeah.
So in financial planning, it's true and false at the same time. Certain things, the customer is always right, like their risk, how much risk they want to take, what their goals are. You cannot tell someone this is wrong about them. You cannot say, don't buy a car. Buying a car is bad. You can't tell him that,
Yeah.
If he wants to buy, you must help him try to achieve it.
Yep.
But certain things, the customer can also be wrong. How they want to do it, there are misconceptions about investing and finances in general. This is something that you must lift and educate them about.
Yeah, because you guys have the better knowledge of the whole, how it all works, right? So it's your job and your responsibility to impart that to them.
Most definitely. Yeah. I look at it as my responsibility to educate people about their finances as well.
That's nice. Yeah, that's true. So that's about your clients. What about yourself? What is your ultimate goal from this journey?
Wow.
Where do you see yourself being?
The near future, I would say in the next 3 years, I would like to have a small team of my own, maybe about 12 people who I'm mentoring and teaching them how to reach out to more clients and help them achieve their financial goals as well. Not just my team, but the people that they're serving as well.
Right. Okay.
That's something that it's very important for me to do, to mentor others. It's something that I like to do as well. And if I can get a few young people under me, or even old people under me who trust me and believe in my services to them as well, then I believe that's something that I would like to do. Because I believe if I'm going to be someone who's mentoring them, I must be able to provide them value.
Yeah.
The moment I stop being valuable is the moment they should just find another job elsewhere. It doesn't make sense to stay on anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Wonderful, man. So before I ask you the ultimate question about what is your ultimate goal in life, we're going to move on to the second part of this topic, right? This first part of this conversation has been totally informative, totally how do you say? It's very factual, very logical. But here's the interesting thing for me about you, right? How is it that somebody who's so factual, so logical, also has this spiritual side to him? Okay, yeah, you mentioned you're spiritual. You might want to elaborate more on that.
Okay, so the term spiritual nowadays has a negative connotation, like you're like some wishy-washy woo kind of magic kind of thing nowadays,
That's the impression I got when you mentioned it, so I was like wondering, okay.
Yeah. Like what's this new age nonsense you're on about, right?
I didn't mean it that way, but there's a kind of impression, yeah,
for sure. I hear you totally, man. And to be honest, some of the things that are out there, they're pretty far out, lah. So I don't know what's that about as well.
Okay.
But to me, being spiritual is more of being connected with life itself. especially here in Singapore, life moves so quickly.
Right.
You don't really take the time to smell the roses once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when was the last time you actually just opened the window and looked at the tree outside? Really looked at the tree and observed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just watch people go by their day in their daily life and everything. I think it's important to have some perspective that despite all of these things that we are doing, especially here in Singapore where people are so focused on work, that we have a greater purpose in life as well. And we may not know it, but it's important for us to live it. To me, that's what spirituality is about, being connected to the source.
Right. And what was your journey like when you to discover this spiritual side of you?
Actually, to be honest, this is the side of me that's been the most present through my life. It's the only thing that hasn't really changed much
Okay.
through my life. So while growing up, I grew up with my grandmother for most of the years. So like about 0 to 6 years old, I was living with her mostly. And she is a deeply, I wouldn't say spiritual, she's a deeply religious person. She prays every day, morning and night, make sure like the altar is taken care of and everything, It's something she doesn't miss. Every morning, 6 a.m., she wakes up, she will pray. Every evening, 6 p.m., she will pray.
Wow.
There has never been a day in her life, sick or not sick, also she will pray. So recently, last year, she had a health scare. She was admitted for about 7 days. In the end, it turned out to be something minor, so thank God for that. But even while she was in the hospital bed, 6 a.m. she'll wake up and pray. 6 p.m. she'll wake up and pray from the bed itself. So that's something that's, it's something that totally is impressive to me, because this woman has been through so much in life. Lost her husband, lost her house, was straddled with her husband's debts for most of the years. And this is a woman who has been through literally the ups and downs of life, having to take care of a special needs child before the child passed away early, So it was interesting to me, like, especially when I look back, how is it she has kept such a strong presence of mind throughout her life, even until today, she also still has that presence of mind at 80, 86 this year, 87 this year, So it's just something that's really impressive to me. And observing her when I grew up, I think she was the person that I always looked up to the most.
Okay. Nice.
And also, when you're a kid, you just want to follow what the adults around you are doing.
Yeah.
So when she goes and pray, you also will just go and follow and pray. You don't even know what you're doing. You're just holding your hand, looking at the altar and somebody. But you just do it, because they're also doing it.
Yeah.
So from there, I think as I grew older, especially when I entered secondary school, is when I started having a lot of deep questions about life. Like, where do we come from? What is our purpose?
Right.
And then, the whole creationist concept. If God created me, who created God? That whole
the chicken or the egg thing and all that, right?
Yeah. It's just like a black hole that you will go into and just get stuck,
Yeah. I feel you on that.
So those questioning aspects, I think, made me move further deeper into spiritualism as well. And I would say for most of my youth, I was focused more on the spiritual aspect of life than the material aspect. I wasn't really pursuing much in terms of wanting to make money, wanting to get rich or anything. For me, it was more of, how do I understand life better?
Okay.
How do I find out deeper what this whole experience means?
And what are some of the ways that you're practicing your spirituality?
So I think right now, meditation is a big part of it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if this applies to everybody, but I'm someone that needs to have a lot of quiet time every once in a while. Just to let my mind be at ease, because I'm someone that thinks a lot, and there's always a storm going on, something is brewing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's nice to have that downtime where I can just don't think of anything, just put on the headphones, play some nature music, like fire or ocean sounds, and then just sit down and just be empty. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, since you brought up meditation, I recently came across this interpretation of meditation. But I want to know, before I share about it, I want to know what is your practice for meditation like? Is it for you to just to just watch your thoughts flow, or is there a practice of controlling your thoughts, controlling your breathing? What is it? How does it work for you?
Okay. So generally, how it works for me is, I like to put my mind in a state where it can just relax, just float. Don't need to think about anything. Don't need to worry about anything. Just be present. It can be through breathing. Like you steadily just concentrate on your breath. Sit down in one place and concentrate on your breath. But I've also found walking meditation to be quite useful for me as well. Okay. So that's where I go on a walk. I put on the headphones. I don't concentrate on anything around me, and then I just carry on walking. I'm focused on each step that I take. So not everybody likes to sit down and can be still. So I found walking meditation to be an alternative as well for me.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. You said focus on being present. How do you focus on being present though?
Okay, so you take away your thoughts. Okay, so most of the time when people are interacting with you, not all of the time they will be here. Not all of the time their mind will be here.
Yeah.
Whenever they are conversing, sometimes their mind will go to different places because they heard you say something. Or maybe because they smelled some coffee, they might be transported to a different place,
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Small distractions. So what that focus means is you're literally only trying to focus on one thing, which is your breathing up and down, the air in, the air out. That's it. Just being totally present in this. That's it. And that somehow activates something within you that makes you hyper present and hyper calm to what is happening on the inside.
Right. Okay.
Not every day is easy though, I must say. There are some times where I cannot focus as well. There are some days where the thoughts just refuse to keep quiet. So I take that as a sign that I just need more practice, I guess.
Yeah. It's a tough skill to master. I still haven't figured it out. Like I've been trying for years, but each time I hear there's a different interpretation for how to do it. I think there's so many different types of meditations out there, right? So
yeah, I agree with you totally because I think just as there are many types of meditation, right, there are just as many types of exercising,
Yeah, and it all has its benefits, but I haven't found one that has truly benefited me to some extent. That I feel like I can see the effects of it until recently. Yeah. So I was listening to one of these trainings by the T. Harv Eker, right? And he explained something very interesting to me about how about how to view meditation. So basically in meditation, people will say, it's about concentrating your thoughts, focusing on your thoughts. It's about letting go of your thoughts. So many different versions, right? His interpretation of it is the practice of being in the present, like you mentioned. But how you do it is that you, like you mentioned as well, focus on your breathing. But it's about the practice of when you realize you are drifting off, to come back to that breathing. Right? So it's that practice. The more you can do that, the more you can be able to draw yourself away from the realities that you're creating in your head and come back to the present. That's how you can be more successful in life. That's how you can be happier in life. And I found that theory to be really, really impactful on me because it's like I realized, breathing is the only constant, or one of the most constant things that helps you in your present, right? Like you're constantly breathing. It's always there in your present. But a lot of things that goes on in your head can either be in the future or can be about the past. So the practice of taking yourself out from those realities, the future or the past, and to concentrate on your breathing to bring you back to the present, I think that was just profound to me. And I've been practicing that, and it makes a lot of sense. Is that something that you're also aware of?
Yep. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly how it's like. Like when you find yourself drifting, especially when I was just beginning, it's very important for me to bring back myself to the breathing. That's essentially what it is.
Right. Because I had no idea that the breathing had such a crucial part. I understand, some yogi masters would be saying, concentrate on your breathing, but I never understood what's the essential meaning of why you need to focus on the breathing. But when he explained that it's about coming back to the present because you're always breathing in the present, then I'm like, so that's the basis of it. Then it makes sense, and then that's where I think I can apply the theory better, for me at least. Yeah.
Makes sense. The breath is a very important component of human life, after all.
Yeah, that's so true. Yep. I mean, who are we without air, right?
Correct. Thinking about the significance of it helps as well. Understanding that without this, you will literally die. So it is very important for me to just breathe because it's important to do so. So a lot of people, they don't give it a lot of importance because it's like auto it's like a autopilot thing most of the time when you're breathing.
Right.
But I think bringing your conscious thought to just simply existing is an important aspect as well.
Yeah. Yep. Agree.
I'm alive, and that is a gift, and that is enough. I think that is something that's important.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, bro. Love that.
Thanks, man.
No problem, man. So, what else is there about spirituality? This you mentioned tarot cards, reading tarot cards.
Yep.
So, how does that work, bro?
So meditation is just one of the ways that I practice spirituality. Another way I like to practice is also using tarot cards. Okay. So do you have any understanding of how tarot cards work?
I've seen some interpretations in the movies. I think I've had a couple of tarot cards here and there, like in the family, if we bought a deck of cards and stuff like that. But I don't really know its true purpose of it. Yeah. And how it's supposed to be used.
Okay, so tarot is a little bit of there's a low magic aspect to it. So how do I put this? How tarot works, right, is that it doesn't exactly predict your future. It simply shows it to you. So if you think about it, tarot is like a mirror. It can't be used to tell you guaranteed this is what will happen, but it can tell you based on where you're at right now, this is the likely outcome.
Okay.
So it serves to give you some sort of clarity.
And these tarot cards, must they be... So can it just be any card, or must it be these specific tarot cards?
So, there's like a ton of different decks in the world. There's like thousands of different decks in the world.
Okay.
But generally, people start with like the most basic deck, which is the Rider Waite deck.
Okay, never heard of it.
So that's like the most standard basic one that was drawn in like the 1500s or 1600s, along those lines. And it's like the basis of most of what most decks are created of these days. So they usually use that as a base, and then they do their own art style, or they reinterpret it in their own way. That's why there's so many different decks out there today. But that is like the granddaddy, like the OG of them all.
OG, okay, got it.
Yeah. So that's the one I use as well, because it's like it's easier to understand in the original form, because there's no artist interpretation or any other reader interpretation on it. It is just like the most raw and basic one. So that's what I use in my readings. I don't have any other deck.
So how do you process the reading? What's the process like actually?
Okay,
I draw three cards and then you interpret it, or?
Okay, so what you mentioned, the draw three cards, right? That's called a spread. So just like there's as many different decks out there are also just as many spreads out there.
Okay.
Some spreads are more popular than others, lah. You might have heard of like some of the famous ones, like the Celtic Cross, which is like a 13-card spread. It'll give you like a holistic picture of what's going on right now, things like that, lah. Depending on how the reader wants to do it, there can be as many different spreads as possible. So usually, what the cards are used for, right, is just like to concentrate your intuition. So all humans have like a sixth sense. Some people's sixth sense is stronger than others.
Right.
What the cards help to do is it helps you give focus to your sixth sense. So actually, technically, you don't need the cards to be able to give someone a mirror image of their life. You just need to be able to feel what they're going through and everything. And then most probably, whatever pops into your mind, you'll be able to come up and let them know as well. But the cards, right, give you a focus point. It gives you like a picture. It paints a picture for you with all the different meanings in the cards and everything. And from there, you can interpret, and it's less taxing on your intuition as well. So you're not grasping at straws here. You're using like a lens to realize like, okay, it's like that. Oh, so this is what my intuition is. So it helps to guide your intuition in a way. Okay.
You think we can try one right now?
Try one right now? Yeah, sure. I think for sure I can. Yeah. Sure, let me go get it.
Sure.
So yeah, man, this is where I put my deck. It's just like a
nice.
It's a full moon cover deck. Yeah, so these are just some of like the cards that are available, you know. Like there are many different types of cards out there, but it's broken up into two different parts. So there's the major arcana, and then there's the minor arcana. So the minor arcana is almost like playing cards. So you know the 52 card deck that we usually use to play our card games. So the minor arcana is similar to that, and the major arcana it's basically like so this is the first card of the major arcana. It's the full card.
Oh, Is it like the Joker?
I guess you could say that it's a little bit similar. So it's basically symbolizing the mystical adept's first journey through life. So most people don't know anything about the mystical realm. They are usually like this when they first start.
Okay.
But as they move on, they will learn more about the different things that entail spiritualism. Let me find the next card in the series for you.
Sure, bro. And what about
So
the meanings? How do you find the meanings? Are they like written at the back of the card, or do you already memorize them?
Okay, so you're supposed to memorize the imagery and the meaning of what the cards are.
Wow. Okay.
So it takes some time to actually get the understanding done. And it also takes some additional knowledge from the spiritual side. Like, for example, what does fire mean spiritually, or what does earth mean spiritually? Things like that, you know? If you have more knowledge of like these other sets of spiritual knowledge as well, they will help you with your reading as well.
Wow. So you must be pretty advanced yourself right now.
I've been studying it for about four years now, but I wouldn't say I'm advanced. I would still say I'm like at a beginner level. I think it takes a lifetime to master. So I wouldn't dare say that I'm like an expert. Yeah, there are so many people who are out there who are way better than I am.
Right. But I mean, I'm sure you've come a long way within these 4 years, right? Memorizing.
Yeah, definitely lah.
Yeah.
From the start where I'm fiddling around trying to figure out the meaning to now where I more or less have it memorized. Yeah, it's a lot better now.
Oh, awesome, bro. Okay, so how does this work? Are you going to do it for me, or are you going to just show us how you do it for yourself? Or
Yeah, sure. Like, if you want, we can just do like a quick 3-card reading for you if you have any question.
Do I have any questions? Can I say it out loud, or?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's say, is this going to be a successful podcast channel?
All right, let's figure it out.
Figure it out.
So I think based on what the cards are saying, okay, I'll show you the cards first.
Sure.
So this is the first card.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, this is the second card.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the last card.
What does it say at the bottom?
Page of Wands.
Page of Wands. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So generally, I think from this spread, it shows that you're going to be putting a lot of hard work into this channel.
Mm-hmm.
And there are going to be opportunities that come for you because of this channel.
Okay, that's interesting.
But at the same time, also, it might be something that will lead you into a further journey. You might just continue this podcast just as a way of learning more and experiencing more for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I see here.
So,
but there will be a lot of opportunities that come out of this. And I mean financial opportunity that comes out of this. It's just about whether you want to take it or not.
Right. Okay. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. So just keep. But of course, the first one is hard work, bro.
Yeah. How do you interpret each card, though?
Okay, so I don't interpret each card. I read it holistically.
I see. Okay.
Because the cards together paint a more accurate picture.
So could you share with us like how the 3 cards gave you that message?
So generally, the first card is something that will mean that there's a lot of effort that need to be put in. The second one indicates opportunities that are dropping out of the sky. That's why there's like a hand coming out with a coin. And the last one, is a boy on a journey. So it's someone who's looking to grow further, looking to grow his passions further. So Wands represents fire. So fire represents passion. This is a boy who has discovered his passion and wants to journey forward even more.
For a first timer, bro, I think that interpretation just hit the mark, man. I mean, I don't know if this can actually make it as my full-time job any point of time in the future. Right. But all I know is that I really love and enjoy doing these podcast things, like, and especially hearing things like this, like sharing these kind of experiences with you, right? It's what, for me, you talked about spirituality, about the connection of life, right? To me, this is, I feel like, my spirituality. This is how I connect with life. Finding out more information about people like yourself, what inspires you. So I think your cards, when you said that, it just hit the mark, man. I have to say, like, I hope it's going to open up more opportunities for me in the future. And I don't know, I'm just astounded that the tarot cards hit the mark. Nice.
So usually that's that's the thing. It will give you an accurate reflection of what is happening right now based on what you're doing.
But it's also, I guess, if it's how I interpret it as well, right? Like,
correct. Like let's say now, for example, you stop doing the podcast. Nothing's going to happen. You know, you still need to put in action. Still need to put in the work for you to make the most of the opportunities that will come your way.
Right. It's fantastic, bro. I love what you shared with us tonight, man. So now,
thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem, bro. So now, how do we piece these two puzzles together? This financial advisor, this logical, practical planner, with the insights of the spiritual world. How does that describe Ruban? How do you put these two together in your field, in your life?
Right. So I feel like life is like a huge puzzle that we are all trying to make sense of at times. But for me, I've always found the two major aspects of life are the ones that we see outside and the one that we have inside. So sort of like yin and yang. So the way I look at it is that for you to be materialistic is important because living life, you need money, you need to be able to enjoy the comforts that you seek as well.
Right.
But at the same time, you also need to be doing the inner work to keep a balance. So I think the most common thing that we've seen is that, especially in Singapore today, we see a lot of people who are wealthy, but they are morally bankrupt. They don't have much spiritual sense, no moral understanding. They don't bother to try to understand other people, and they look down on them even sometimes. So I think this is an aspect of where materialism has become out of balance. Too much materialism, too little spirituality. But on the flip side, in other countries in the world where spiritualism is especially popular, for example in India, you see a lot of sages who are on the streets, literally only wearing a loincloth and a stick, and they are haggard, overgrown, no material wealth whatsoever. But they are fully in the spiritual world, full on. So for me, I personally believe my way of living life must be a balance of both. I want to enjoy the material aspects of life, and at the same time, I also want to reap the benefits of being spiritual and keep myself aligned and in balance.
Right.
And I think here in Singapore, we are actually very, very much poised to do so. To be both materially and spiritually balanced. We have so many spiritual and religious resources here in Singapore. And at the same time, also, this country is a great country to make big amounts of wealth as well.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to keep a level mind and balance these two aspects. So how I would view myself is, I like to view myself as like a bridge. I would like to be able to bridge the material world and the spiritual world together, but within me. I can't do it for somebody else, but as long as I'm able to start it and do it within me, I think that's the first step that I need to take.
Right. That's wonderful, bro. All right. So I think if that's about it, you have anything else you want to share? No,
I think that's about it, bro. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, especially at 2:30. Was it 1:30 in the morning just now? 2 o'clock, 2:30.
Yeah.
2:30 in the morning. I appreciate that. Hope to have you back again sometime in the future.
Hopefully, maybe when I've grown further.
Yep. Then we can recap and see how we've grown and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. So thank you so much. Back to the viewers or the listeners. For those of you who enjoyed this episode, let us know what you enjoyed about it. Let us know what kind of episodes you also like to have in the forthcoming ones. I thank you so much again, Ruban, for being here. What else is there to say? Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, guys.
All right, man. I see you guys all on the next episode of Deep Culture. See you guys. See you, Ruben.
See you, man.
Take care.
Bye-bye.